Thank you, everybody. There's actually people here, Bode. We're end of day 2, and can we hear some reactions and say hi? People are awake as well. They're not just in here sleeping. That's amazing. Brilliant. Well, thank you guys. I really appreciate your time and attention. We'll keep this short and sweet and let you get to the parties. But I'm really pleased to be invited up here with Bode. I think what struck me, the title of this session is really succinct, but it kind of belies a huge amount of complexity and a huge amount of detail. And so actually our challenge is to try and distill that down into a pithy 90 minutes, 16 seconds worth of content. And when I say we, what I actually mean is you, right?
Oh, you're going to talk with me, so.
Good stuff. So a little bit about myself very quickly. So my name's Matt Ferguson, managing partner at a business called Sonr. We help insurers, reinsurers find amazing startup talent. Usually the reason for doing that is because they're trying to find ways to get new and novel products into the hands of new customers. Those are often in new and emerging segments, underrepresented, underserved. There are similarities across them. So with that in mind, what maybe just kick off, and Bode, rather than me butchering your background, which was frankly terrifying when you look at serial entrepreneur, building, exiting businesses, fundraising, it's pretty scary. So over to you. And
thank you. Thank you, Matt. And thank you, InsurTech Connect. So my name is Bode Pedro. I'm the CEO of Casava. Casava is a digital insurance company based in the Nigerian market. But specifically, I'm an impact entrepreneur. I've been building companies for give or take 16 years now. My first company was Veda Computers. After university, I said, you know what, I want to be like Michael Dell. So I went back to Nigeria and set up a computer manufacturing company. Did that for 5 years. Unfortunately, there wasn't any venture capital then. Borrowed some money, couldn't pay back on time. So it didn't work out as well as I wanted. Then I went into digital media. I co-founded a company called Bella Niger. It's now the biggest digital media company in Nigeria and one of the biggest in Africa, so you can look it out up. And then eventually I set up another company called MotorCheck, and that does vehicle inspections, mostly for Uber. It's the biggest in Nigeria right now. And then I fell in love with insurance. And about 2 years ago, I launched Casava as a digital insurance company for the insurance market, the Nigerian market specifically. And that's where we are right now.
Fantastic. Okay, well, you've ended up, nicely, I think, a segue. When we talk about the markets, that gives context to the discussion. And when we're talking about underrepresented markets, well, what does that actually mean? And then maybe we can get into some kind of practical examples, drawing from your experience, drawing from some of the conversations we've had as well. That would be great.
Thank you very much. The word underrepresented is a very interesting, I'll say, word that people use. The truth of the matter is that when it comes to products and value, there's a job to be done. And the job is usually done. The question is if it's done with the best value. And that is what we bring to the table as entrepreneurs and tech companies. So those markets are not underrepresented. They're emerging markets. They're actually consuming. And so a good example is in 2001, telecoms regulation opened up in Nigeria. And telecoms company came to Nigeria and they started up with subscription billing. Did not work. And they pivoted to per second billing. Can you guess what the market capitalization of the biggest telecoms company in Nigeria is right now? Maybe we can give it to the audience.
I think that's a great idea. Yeah. It keeps everyone awake as well.
Okay. Can someone just throw a number? 1 trillion. Well, MTN Nigeria is $6 billion right now in 20 years. I'll give you another example, payments. Because of the fact that a lot of people weren't used to banking, trust was a problem. So what we did in the banking industry in Nigeria, we made it instant for payments and transactions. Instant, not T+2 like in America.
Yeah, sure.
Just to make people trust it. Guess what the total market capitalization is for banking in Nigeria right now?
Let's open it.
Someone should give you a guess. Nigeria, total market capitalization, all the banks, not lenders, not fintechs, just the traditional banks because of payments. $300 billion. You can Google it.
Yeah, we're not making this up, guys, okay?
I have one more. One more,
go for it.
Nigerians, average age of Nigerians is 25. Very aspirational people. Betting industry, massive. Can anyone guess what the daily transaction is for betting? How much people bet every day in Nigeria?
I can't, but I bet these guys can.
$9.7 million every day. And they're betting 20, 30, 40 cents, 50 cents, $1.
Wow. So huge volume as well, right?
Huge volume. And that's what we're talking about here.
Okay, so what we're talking about is precedent.
Yes.
So what does that mean how does that translate into the world of insurance then?
So
we always do this, right, within the insurance industry.
Yes.
But what about insurance? How's it working?
Very good. So right now, officially, market penetration for insurance is less than 5% in a country with 250 million people. That same group of people, my people, they have 120 million bank accounts. What's going on? Well, the first thing is, remember what I said, job to be done. What is insurance? What is the job to be done? Saving for a stormy day. That's essentially it.
Yeah.
So if you think traditionally, organically, when I trade and I have proceeds and I sense that something bad can happen, then I put a little bit of money on the side.
Sure.
That is essentially insurance. The more modern form of insurance is more of a Victorian scientific model of pulling money together as a community to take care of a small group of people.
Sure.
And that is the problem that we've had because we've not had global or rather national social security systems that incentivize or disincentivize these people into pulling money together on insurance.
Okay, so you're describing kind of an alternative to the traditional definition of
exactly.
It's still happening. It's just happening in an alternative form.
Exactly. They're saving. People are already saving. So if you look at it from the savings perspective, then there's already penetration. But it's not enough mileage.
Yeah, sure.
Because if something bad happens, you're just not going to have enough money. But when you look at what has happened in telecoms, in payments, in banking, in betting, there's an opportunity.
Amazing. And so not only have you got precedent, you've got precedent. So we've got to repeat that word. That's great, isn't it? I used the right word twice.
What's the pattern? That's the question.
Yeah, exactly. What
design?
Or what's the barrier? What's preventing? What is it the traditional insurance industry isn't offering?
Because first in Nigeria, traditional insurance industry, they're built around enterprise and corporate business, not retail, because it's expensive. What you need now is companies, tech companies, innovative companies, individuals that can come in and sit down and design the right products to fit the cultural, behavioral, and economic needs of consumers. We talked about young people and betting. Why do they bet? They bet because they're aspirational. They bet because it's almost like a trade. They're trying to gain. They're young. The average age in Nigeria is less than 25. Yeah, wow. You can look that up also. So they're not thinking they're dying tomorrow. Most of them don't even have kids. So insurance is like, yeah, we'll deal with that later. So how do you solve for that? And that's where you design products like bundling investments or savings with insurance, and then slowly getting people to invest more in insurance as they grow and have families.
Okay, so it's taking a very long-term view of the relationship that you need to build out.
That's one. But secondly, by making it flexible where they can pay a little bit. I like to call it micro insurance or nano insurance. I'll give you a simple example.
Like nano insurance.
Oh yeah, that's like I'm going to remember to patent that.
Heard it here first.
So I'll give you an example. We're talking about health insurance.
Yeah, go for it.
Traditionally, people buy health insurance, pay monthly, pay annually. But what do people do every day? They go to the grocery store, they buy food. They go take a bus. So imagine if every time you're taking a trip, there is the opportunity for you to add a daily premium. that will cover you health insurance on a daily basis.
Yep.
So what we're seeing is when you learn from what has happened with in other industries like the telecoms, payments, mobile, for insurance, we need to design products to fit the needs of customers. And this is not just a Nigeria problem.
That was going to be my next question, right? Is that these feel like pretty transferable or related?
Everything I've said up till now, telecoms, payments, banking, if you go and look at India, Philippines, Indonesia, Egypt, Brazil, Kenya, you will see the same thing in similar forms, slightly different, but very similar. But there's something that is very important. With everything I've said, the American investment community, they missed out on all of this.
Really?
Oh, yeah. I mean, the telecoms is all invested by South African, Asian investors. Banking is all mostly invested in Nigeria. So the stock market were mostly owned by local Nigerian. And that's why we have a lot of Nigerian billionaires. Same thing with payments.
Yeah. Okay. So that's interesting as well, right? Why was there such a blind spot?
Because we tend to see based on our experiences. You know, a lot of folks who are here who've invested and been in the insurance industry or investment industry in the United States and possibly Europe, they're thinking about the problem based on their experiences from my perspective.
Yep. Okay.
And how do you think about the problem from the experiences in that market and also see where it's going in the future so you can invest now and get the best possible return on equity in the future.
So it sounds like a bit of a combination of proximity to the market and just having visibility. But
And also, you also have to have that true interest in the market. Like if it's just, oh, I just want to invest and get some returns like quickly, it sometimes might not be music to your ears.
Sure.
But if you say, wow, this is a huge market. Oh, by the way, in 20 years, 1 out of 4 human beings in the world will be where? From where? Africa. I mean, just Google New York Times, you see it. 1.4 billion people right now in Africa, 250 million people in Nigeria as we speak. So you have to be able to see that, look, this is an opportunity. This is an opportunity for the global community to be part of this revolution in payments, in banking, in insurance, in fintech, but also in the whole industries around it. When you think about Afrobeats, I'm sure some of you have heard, baby, calm down, calm down. Why do you think that's the case? It's because of technology and social media and fintech in Nigeria that has powered these industries. You know, these sportsmen like Francis Ngannou, who, you know, we saw what he did to Tyson Fury, and these fashion designers. This was made in Nigeria, by the way. I hope you guys like it. So there's so much industry that Africa is changing from a consumption market to a producer market to, guess what? An innovation market. Because everything I'm just talking about right now is innovation.
Okay. Let's cut to a quick question.
Yeah.
I think it's a nice segue there. So question is, from Anonymous, where is the innovation coming from in Africa? Is it from the startups, the incumbents, or both? I guess there's another question which might be
startups. And the reason is that most startup entrepreneurs, they're young.
Yep.
They are open to change and open to doing something different. Whereas the traditional companies tend to stick to their business model.
Yeah. Okay.
But what happens is that some of these companies now acquire startups or partner with startups. So, for example, at Casava, we partner with reinsurance companies in Nigeria to deliver services to our customers. And because of some of the things that we've done, we've been able to leverage technology to drive our insurance through agent networks and partners. What has happened is now we have over 200,000 customers subscribed and growing. We pay claims in 48 hours, which helps a lot because that's our focus, customer experience and claims.
Okay, fantastic. Well, let's maybe we've talked about kind of macro level.
Yeah.
We've talked about a shift and a pretty seismic one as well. I mean, just quoting some enormous numbers.
Mm-hmm.
What about kind of drawing on your practical experience of building a business? And we've just just finished using the example of Casava. How has that experience been, and what have you learned along the way that maybe you can share with people here?
It's the first thing is whatever you've learned in the global space, just throw it out the window. That's the first rule. You have to.
Why is that? Can I ask?
Because a lot of these businesses, a lot of the industries that we see is based on the infrastructure that is available in those markets, the consumer spend in markets, and the behavior of those markets.
Okay.
So, for example, you say you want to set up a Netflix type business in Nigeria. If internet service and Wi-Fi is not 100 Mbps, you are dead in the water. But if you find a way to partner with the telco, work on the bit rates and the video compression and make it small bite size, then maybe you have an opportunity. And so you have to listen and understand the market. And that's the first thing that I had to experience. And I can tell you, it's been a painful experience.
It's founders experiences.
Oh yeah, it's been an interesting experience that I enjoyed.
But there's also learnings in those, right? And I can relate to that journey as well, right? And it is a journey.
Yes.
But equally, there's value in sharing some of those. Could you give some examples of maybe how you've approached learning about your customers, how you've tested products? These are practical ways of better understanding the problems to be solved and figuring out the best way to resolve.
So when we first started, we were hoping, we can sell directly to the customers, blah, blah, blah. We can improve, our digital marketing process. That didn't work. I mean, we sold, but acquisition cost was very high. We realized that there's a human element that you need in that market, especially when you're starting. And that human element has to do with agents and people that are dealing directly with the community. How do you now power them? So 60% of traditional insurance business to the consumers is through agents and brokers. They don't even have tech. So what we've been doing now is building out the platforms to empower these agents to sell to their communities. But even deeper than that, how can we even make it more efficient for them? So they spend less time trying to sell. They can qualify their customers better, give them the right price, communicate better, and retain them. And that's where automation comes in. That's where decision science and AI comes in. So we're essentially guiding these agents to sell to these customers. But there's something else that I want to add. Yes, we have a lot of young people, but we also have people who are getting older.
Yep.
And they're more interested in taking care of their family. They're interested in how to protect the assets that help them, trade, because we have quite a number of businesses. So there are 70 million micro businesses in Nigeria. It's a trading economy, not a worker economy. And so if you're able to tap into their needs, especially aspirational, not saying, oh, buy this product. It is, let me help you grow your business by providing this protection so that you can actually expand. And that's where that human element comes in. And that's what we're trying to do with Casava, bringing the human element, but at the same time, digitizing that process so that people can get affordable, valuable, enjoyable insurance, and then they can thrive and prosper in their lives. Because that's essentially what insurance is all about.
It should be, right?
Yeah.
Okay.